The service continued. One by one, people went up and spoke about Colin. Not friends, enemies, old co-workers he had wronged, neighbors he tormented, even a girl he harassed once. Each speech cut him deeper. Colin was cruel. He made lives miserable. I won't miss him.
Good riddance. Trash belongs in the ground.
Inside the coffin, his screams grew frantic. No, stop! I can hear you! I'm not dead! Don't bury me! Then came the moment. The gang leader lifted a remote. Watch closely, Darren. On the screen above the coffin, live footage appeared. Colin inside the coffin, his face contorted with terror. No! Please! I can't breathe! I froze. Part of me wanted to stop it. Another part wanted more. The gang then lowered the coffin into a grave, let the dirt fall inch by inch, until Colin's screams turned to sobs, then silence. Just before it became final. My name is Darren. I've lived my whole life with wheels beneath me, instead of legs. When I was 6 years old, a drunk driver jumped the curb and shattered my spine. That day, my future rolled out on a pair of cold steel wheels. My parents were devastated. My mom cried every night beside my hospital bed, and my dad sat there holding my little hand as if he could transfer his strength into me. My sister, only 9 at the time, became my shadow. She helped push my chair, helped me reach things, even learned how to clean and bathe me when mom was too tired. I grew up in love and pain, supported by them, but defined by the chains of my wheels. You would think that surviving such an accident, learning how to breathe again, how to sit upright without collapsing, how to control my bladder like a toddler learning for the first time, you would think people would respect that fight. But they didn't. People smelled weakness on me like blood in the water. And the sharks came, every stage of my life. In grade school, the other kids would push my wheelchair into corners, laugh, and walk away, leaving me trapped until a teacher found me. Look, Darren's parked like a car. Beep, beep. Stop, please. Race car can't move without gas. When I cried, they laughed harder. In high school, it was worse. They'd sneak up behind me, grab the handles, and speed me down ramps without warning. Let's see how fast this baby can go. Stop, stop. The brakes. I crashed more than once. Scraped arms, twisted wrist, even tipped over face first once. My chair became my prison and their amusement park ride. College wasn't better. The frat boys liked to mock me in the cafeteria. Hey Darren, how do you get laid? Do you roll into bed and hope gravity does the rest? I eat here just like you. Just let me be. Oh, don't be salty. We're just wheeling around with you. And then came work. The office was its own battlefield. My colleagues whispered when I rolled past. Bet he only got the job because of disability quota. Yeah, he's like furniture with a tie. One man in particular, Colin, was the worst. A tall, smug, gym rat type who thought bullying me made him funnier, more powerful. He'd pretend to trip over my chair, knock papers out of my lap, even once locked the elevator so I had to crawl up the first few stairs before security came. Oops, stairs were faster? Guess wheels don't beat legs after all. One day, you'll regret this. What you gonna chase me? It was supposed to be my birthday celebration at work. The office manager brought out a cake, and for one small second, I felt human, like maybe I belonged. But then Colin strutted up with his smirk. Stuck right in the middle of the frosting was a tiny plastic toy wheelchair. Everyone chuckled nervously, unsure if they should laugh or stay silent. Colin clapped me on the shoulder and said loud enough for the whole floor to hear, "Make a wish, Darren. Who knows? Maybe next year you'll finally get legs." The laughter broke loose then, half the office giggling behind their hands, the other half looking away in shame. My throat burned, and I wanted to melt into my chair. I blew out the candles, not with a wish, but with a prayer that one day Colin would choke on his own cruelty. One late evening, I was finishing paperwork when Colin rolled up behind me. Without warning, he grabbed my chair handles and pushed me down the hall. "Colin, stop, what are you doing?" He just laughed, steering me straight into the supply closet. Before I could turn, he shoved me inside, yanked the door shut, and clicked the lock. The lights went off. "Good night, Darren. Hope you don't need a bathroom break in there." The dark pressed in on me. I tried the handle, but it was locked tight. Hours passed in silence, except for my own breathing. My legs may not have worked, but the ache of helplessness was worse than any pain I'd ever felt. It wasn't until nearly midnight when the janitor opened the door, surprised to find me crumpled in my chair, cold, humiliated, and shaking. Colin had long since gone home. Colin's cruelty didn't stop at me. It stretched to the people I loved most. One afternoon in the break room, he leaned back in his chair and grinned as the others listened. "Bet your mom wishes that car finished the job, Darren. Must be exhausting wiping your ass every day." The words hit me like a bullet. My mother, who cried every night at my hospital bed, who carried me upstairs when I was too weak, who gave everything for me. Hearing her turned into the punchline of Colin's joke nearly broke me. My jaw clenched so tight it hurt, but I said nothing. Because if I opened my mouth, I wasn't sure if I'd scream, sob, or both. The last straw came one Friday. I was eating lunch, and Colin poured an entire cup of coffee over my lap. Then he pretended to laugh, saying it was just adding gas to my engine. My lap burned, and I had to wheel myself to the bathroom, soaked and humiliated, while he laughed with half the office. I cried in the stall. That day, I wanted to disappear. That day, I left work late, rolled down a dim street, and stopped under a lamppost. And I broke. My hands covered my face, and I sobbed until my chest hurt. I wanted to disappear. That's when they found me. A group of bikers, tattooed, leather jackets, faces carved with stories. They pulled up, engines growling like beasts. I should have been afraid. But instead, one of them stepped off his bike and crouched in front of me. "Why you crying, brother?" "It's nothing, just life." "Bull. Nobody cries like that for nothing. Talk. We listen." So I told them everything. The schoolyard humiliations, the college torment, the office abuse. Colin. Especially Colin. When I finished, I expected laughter, maybe pity. But what I saw shocked me. Rage. "Bastard needs a lesson. We had a brother once. Accident took his legs. He was still a lion. World didn't treat him right either. You're family now." "Family?" "Yeah, and family don't let family cry in the streets." They asked me for Colin's name, his address. I hesitated, but the thought of his smirk, his laughter at my pain, lit something dark inside me. "Colin. He lives on Eastwood, 45, apartment 302. "Good, we'll handle it." I didn't know what handle meant, not yet. A week later, whispers spread in the office. Colin had disappeared. No one knew where. His phone off, his apartment empty. People murmured, and I kept silent, until the gang came for me. They rolled up outside my building one night. "Darren, come. Tonight, you'll see." "See what?" "Justice." They blindfolded me, not out of mistrust, but to build suspense. When they pulled it off, I gasped. We were in a funeral ground. Black drapes, candles flickering, mourners whispering. And on the plaque? "In loving memory of Colin Reese, my bully," his name etched in gold. Is he dead? Not yet. Suddenly, gang members all wearing black came in with a coffin. Muffled screams seeped through. Guests, fake mourners, actors the gang hired, gasped in horror. "Help! I'm alive! Let me out!" The gang leader leaned toward me. "He's inside the coffin, tiredly sealed right now. Microphone on him, speakers in the coffin. He's listening to his own funeral, his own death." I couldn't breathe. I didn't know whether to be horrified or thrilled. The service continued. One by one, people went up and spoke about Colin. Not friends, enemies, old co-workers he had wronged, neighbors he tormented, even a girl he harassed once. Each speech cut him deeper. Colin was cruel. He made lives miserable. I won't miss him.
Good riddance. Trash belongs in the ground.
Inside the coffin, his screams grew frantic. "No, stop! I can hear you! I'm not dead! Don't bury me!" Then came the moment. The gang leader lifted a remote. "Watch closely, Darren." On the screen above the coffin, live footage appeared. Colin inside the coffin, his face contorted with terror. "No! Please! I can't breathe!" I froze. Part of me wanted to stop it. Another part wanted more. The gang then lowered the coffin into a grave, let the dirt fall inch by inch, until Colin's screams turned to sobs, then silence. Just before it became final, they pulled him out. Not dead, half dead with fear. When they finally pulled Colin from the coffin, he was drenched in sweat, dirt clinging to his skin, his eyes bulging in terror. He gasped like a drowning man, clutching at the air, his screams breaking into sobs. "Please, please, I'll never hurt him again, I swear!" The gang didn't let him go. Not yet. They grabbed him by the arms, dragging his trembling body toward the van parked behind the funeral parlor. "Funeral's over, Colin. Now comes the after party." They drove him to an abandoned warehouse, tossed him onto the floor, and tied him to a chair beneath a single dangling light bulb. The smell of gasoline and rust filled the room. One of the gang members poured a bucket of ice water over his head, and Colin shrieked as the cold shocked him back to focus. "This is for Darren. You think pain is funny? You think humiliation is power? Look around, Colin. No office buddies here to laugh, just us." "But please, I didn't mean—" "Didn't mean? You burned him with coffee? You crippled his pride every day. Now you're the cripple." They slapped him across the face until his lip bled, cut a few strands of his hair with the knife, then untied him just long enough to shove him to the ground. "Crawl. Crawl like Darren had to when you locked the elevator." Colin sobbed as he dragged himself across the filthy floor, his suit ripping, knees bruising. The gang towered over him, their shadows long and merciless. "Listen well, if you ever breathe a word of this, if you ever mention Darren's name in mockery again, we'll know. And next time, you won't walk out." "Yes! Yes, please let me go!" They released him just before dawn, dumping him half naked in an alley far from home. "Leave. Never come back. If you do, you won't get pulled out next time." By the time he stumbled back into the world, his arrogance had been stripped away, leaving only fear. Colin left. He didn't even pack. He vanished, fleeing the state overnight. Back at the office, things changed. The gang started visiting me, sometimes escorting me home, sometimes just rolling in to check on their brother. My colleagues stopped laughing. Even my boss went pale when he saw the gang leader pat me on the shoulder. "If Darren says one more word about being mistreated, we'll be back, and not for a chat." The office grew silent, respectful. For the first time, I wasn't the guy in the chair. I was untouchable. And me? I had a family. Brothers who saw me not as weak, but as one of them. Still, sometimes at night, I think about Colin. Somewhere far away, lying awake, hearing funeral prayers in his head. Dirt falling, falling, falling. He'll never escape that coffin, not in his mind. And maybe that's the best revenge, because death ends suffering. But living in fear, that's eternal. So, yeah, that's my story. A kid in a wheelchair, bullied his whole life until the streets gave him brothers and revenge gave him peace. And hey, if you like this story, don't just roll past it. Hit like, subscribe, and remember, if anyone bullies you, maybe don't call a gang, unless they've got a funeral parlor handy.